Blood currency. The city bled light. Neon veins pulsed through the fog, bathing the crumbling towers of Sector 9 in a feverish red glow. Every sign flickered the same warning. Blood is value. Value is life. Below those signs, people queued in silence outside plasma banks that hummed like cathedrals of hunger. Drains ran crimson where the gutters overflowed. Drones buzzed overhead, their glass eyes scanning wrists for balance tags, numbers inked into flesh that told the world exactly how much blood you were worth. The rich stayed pale and full. The poor were hollowed out by the market's thirst. In the middle of this system, Callan Ward stood beneath a billboard showing a smiling donor family. The caption glowing, "Give freely, live fully." He wanted to laugh or cry, but he didn't have the strength for either. Before the fall years ago, before the first blood crisis, before the banks and the scanners and the silent queues, Callan had been a teacher. The world still traded in paper and coin then. He had a wife, Alara, who painted sunrises and believed kindness was a currency of its own. But when the global economy collapsed, the Red Initiative rose, a government program claiming to turn human vitality into value. Plasma became the new gold. A liter could buy a week of food. A donation could pay your rent. People lined up willingly at first. Then came the shortages, the wars, the harvests. Elara had fallen ill, a rare immune disorder. The medicine existed, but only for those whose blood held value. She wasn't eligible. Callan remembered the look in her eyes when the nurse said the words, "You out of balance." He sold everything he owned for her treatment, but the system didn't care about love. One night he came home to find her slumped beside their son's crib, pale, cold, and still smiling. The monitors had gone dark. Her donation limit exceeded. From that day, Callan never stopped bleeding. The vault of life, years later, the vault of life became his confessional. He visited every night, selling what little he had left to keep Micah alive. The walls gleamed like polished bone, and the air smelled of disinfectant and fear. Rows of donors hung motionless in their chairs, faces vacant, veins threaded with light. When the machine voice asked for consent, Callan barely whispered, "Yes." The needle slid in, and he felt the world tilt. "Just a little more," he murmured. "He needs me." Each withdrawal left him colder, yet more awake. He began hearing things, a whisper under the hum of the extractor. Give more. Sometimes he wondered if the blood itself remembered him. The hunger after the vault rejected him. Something inside Callan began to shift. His reflection grew sharper. His eyes glowed faintly in the dark. His body craved something he couldn't name. He found himself drawn to sound, the heartbeat of strangers, the rustle of breath in the cold. The city's noises became a symphony of life he could almost taste. Then came the hunger. It wasn't the gnawing ache of starvation, but something deeper, an ache to connect, to take and give in equal measure. He told himself it was desperation. But when he passed a bleeding man in the street, and his own pulse sped up in response, he knew it was more, At night he dreamed of Elara standing in a sea of red, her voice echoing through the fluid light. "You can still save him," she whispered. "But the price must be blood." The capture, when the Blood Authority finally came for him, it was almost a relief. They dragged him through sterile corridors, past walls that throbbed faintly with energy. "Regenerative anomaly," one technician murmured. "Self-replicating plasma. He's perfect. Perfect." That word burned in his skull. Director Havel, her hair white as chalk, greeted him with the kind of calm reserved for gods or executioners. "You should be proud, Callan Ward. You've given humanity its future." "You mean you've taken mine?" he rasped. She smiled faintly. "Your blood renews itself faster than any sample we've seen. You could feed the world forever, and my son, he'll live because of you." Then she held up a vial of his blood, a luminous, pulsing crimson that seemed almost alive. The glow reflected in her pupils, turning her expression almost reverent. "Be the human heart," she said, "was never meant to be finite." The transformation, they drained him until the machines began to hum his heartbeat. Pain lost meaning. Time melted. He dreamt of rivers running through the veins of the earth, of Elara whispering lullabies in a voice made of thunder and pulse. When he opened his eyes, the room around him had changed. The walls rippled faintly, alive, breathing with his rhythm. The lights dimmed and brightened in sync with his thoughts. The experiment had succeeded. Callan Ward had become both man and myth, the beating heart of the blood economy itself. Above the ground, Micah recovered miraculously. His transfusion took to his body like sunlight through glass. He could run again, laugh again, live again. But sometimes, at night, he'd hear whispers in the static of the city. When he walked beneath the glowing billboards, their words flickered, rearranging themselves for just a heartbeat. "Give freely, live fully. He lives in you, and deep below, in the bowels of the earth." The great pumps and tubes that sustained the city pulsed like a sleeping giant, steady, warm, unending. If you pressed your ear to the metal, you could almost hear it whisper, "One more for him."